Powerhouse Spotlight. I am so excited about our guest tonight. So welcome to the Powerhouse in Motion campus, where we're broadcasting live and streaming from my personal page. And the Powerhouse in Motion campus is where we equip, empower, we educate, we celebrate, and we collaborate and support one another as women entrepreneurs. So I would like to welcome my great sister, my great sister from another mother. She is just incredible. And I'm excited to bring to you tonight a woman who is going to help shift. Did you hear me say shift our thinking and how we see what's happening in our lives, what's going on inside of ourselves. And I can't think of any a better time than now to have Susan come to us. And so grab your notebooks, grab your pens, please share our live right now. You can go ahead and do a watch party. And you can also comment if you have any comments or questions for Susan. I want you to go ahead and put that in, but allow me to introduce her to you.
Hello. So I was going to say, thank you, Pam. I'm so
You're welcome. You're welcome. Wait, Susan, wait. I got to give you your introduction.
Okay.
I got to give you the introduction. So
I'll sit here.
What would life be like? And I'm talking to all of you out there. If you had energy again, started dreaming again, you got clear about what you truly wanted, you finally let go of all the baggage from the past. Anybody have baggage from the past? Yeah, raise a foot, a toe, right? And then you were able to receive support from someone who won't let you sit in your excuses or your stories. How about that? My good girlfriend is based out of Seattle. And with a global coaching practice, Susan Palmer Wood offers powerful breakthroughs for people who are ready to stop feeling stuck, stifled, or searching for something and start living as their most insatiable, curious, connected, and conscious selves. Miss Susan received her Master of Practitioner certification in Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, hypnosis, and mental emotional release therapy. She's also a certified NLP trainer, a coach, a Reiki master, a Huna and Theta healing practitioner, and uses an integrative, did I say that right? Integrative, intuitive, individualized approach with each client during each session. She is absolutely phenomenal. She is a master at breakthrough. So help me welcome tonight my good girlfriend, an expert in neuro-linguistic programming, an expert in breakthroughs, Miss Susan Palmer Wood.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and excited to bring, oh my gosh, some stories, some techniques, and some things that people can do right here.
Yes.
And during our conversation to help shift. So, and tools that they can watch this again and again.
Yes.
And just build that muscle. So they're not run by their feelings. They are run by their identity and what they're here to do in the world. So I'm really excited.
The timing is so right, Susan, for you. It really is. And the work that you're doing, with what we're experiencing now. So I do pray that everyone turns off the news right now and just tunes into Miss Susan. So Susan, how did you get started with the NLP and the work that you're doing?
Yeah. So I started, how I fell in love with NLP at first was through Tony Robbins. I had done several of his workshops, his books, and coaches had done wonders for me. And yet I was keeping the information in here and not in here. So have you ever read a ton of books and then not been able to tell someone what you learned? Right? Or like, I know all this stuff, but I'm not living it. Mm-hmm. And what happened with me is I was living a life of should. Mm-hmm. I was living someone else's idea of success. I was super successful on the outside.
Mhm.
I was making multiple six figures. I had a great job in corporate America. I was buying for mom of the year, corporate exec of the year, wife of the year, and it looked
Mhm.
like I had it all together, but it was really like, how when a duck glides across the pond, it looks all graceful, like they have it all together, but underneath their
Mhm.
little fins are doing this. That was me. And I was just
Wow.
trying to keep up. And I was secretly overwhelmed,
Mm.
exhausted, not sleeping, not eating, but everything is fine. I'm fine. What
Mhm.
can I do for you?
Yeah.
And, what was happening is I wouldn't stop. I was constantly producing and running and taking care of the kids and the house and the job and working nonstop with a company that really rewarded its employees for a culture of intensity
Okay.
and workaholics, right? So I was definitely rewarded for that nonstop go,
Mhm.
go, go.
Mhm.
And what I hadn't realized at the time was that I was actually running from myself. I
Mm.
had to keep busy because I was seeking validation on the
Yeah.
outside for
Right.
what I
Right.
wasn't feeling on the inside.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
Can you relate to that? Like,
Can relate. Yes. And you know what? Sheila Goffin said imposter syndrome.
exactly.
Yes, thank you,
Exactly.
Sheila, for chiming in. Thank you. And
Because
she said she totally understands and she can relate. It's real, right?
absolutely. And it's like no matter how much you make, no matter how much praise you get, no matter
Mhm.
what you're doing, if you don't feel it on the inside, it doesn't
Right.
matter. So we keep
Doesn't matter.
seeking it out here. So
Mm.
for me, my health started to deteriorate, right? Because the
Mhm.
mind and the body are connected. And if we don't deal with the trauma of our past, and I had a lot of trauma in childhood that I
Mm.
went to counseling, I went to therapy, but I still hadn't processed it in the way that I needed to process it,
Right.
apparently. Um, and because I wasn't dealing with that and I was trying to control everything outside of me, my health started to deteriorate. It's got to come out somehow to get our attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, my doctor said, Susan, your health is a ticking time bomb. You don't want what
Mm.
next. You have to stop. And I'm like, I can't stop. I've got too many people counting on me. I've got too much to do. I can't stop. Like, how many
So,
working women, working moms can identify with that,
mm-hmm.
regardless of your past? We all feel
Mm-hmm.
like we have too much to do. We can't possibly sit down or stop or rest.
Please type me in if you can relate to that. Type me, right?
Yeah, right. And so it didn't matter how I felt. It mattered that I just kept doing. And so one morning I was getting ready for work. I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping, because I was working in my sleep, which is a sign of burnout. And I collapsed
Mm.
and I couldn't get up for
Wow.
anything. And I cried. And I cried for the me that had suffered for so long, because it's not like this just happened overnight. It
Mm-hmm.
did. I look at my Facebook memories and things come up like, um, worked in my sleep again. Does that count for a full day's work? Or sick again, or another migraine, or sure, I'm exhausted. Like
Right.
little things that had been happening for a while that I wasn't paying attention to, right? So I cried for the me that would
Mm.
cry on the way to work because I was
Wow.
so exhausted. I was so miserable. I cried for the me that had migraines. I cried for the me that was so wanting to quit and wouldn't give myself permission to.
Mm.
And I couldn't get up. So I was actually housebound for 3 months. I had chronic fatigue,
Wow.
adrenal burnout, um, all of these dietary, not dietary, but digestive issues.
Okay.
And I was completely burned out. I lost my cognitive ability. I had no choice but to rest.
Wow.
And I had suicidal ideation because my mind just was fried. And it was awful. I was burned down to the ground.
Wow.
The beautiful thing is that the phoenix rises from the ashes. So in this time where I finally rested, where I finally started to take a look at what was driving me
Mm.
and what was going on, and once I was able to start reading, I had to do audiobooks because my eyes wouldn't focus on the words of a book. But when I would start reading and I would start learning about burnout and learning about the old beliefs, the old tapes that were playing, not enough. You're not enough. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. All that imposter syndrome over and over and over again. It's exhausting. And I started to look at that. And then I decided to, after months of that and months of like taking naps at the top of my stairs because I was so tired, taking hour-long baths, binge watching Netflix because I had nothing else to do, but I was actually finally spending time with my daughter. I started to heal. I had an amazing experience where a friend 3 months later talked me into climbing Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And I didn't know that's what was happening. We were just going to go on a walk, and it ended up being a really, really long, steep walk. When I got to the top, I couldn't believe that I made it to the top. And it took 8 hours to get up, of walking really slowly because I was so sick and exhausted. And when I looked at what I had done, I threw my arms up in the air and said, woohoo, I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. And yet my situation hadn't changed. My health hadn't changed. My circumstances hadn't changed. What I knew was possible changed. And so it took me 8 hours to get up, took me 4 hours to get down. How is that possible? And so when I got down, I dove in head first into learning everything I could about the power of the mind and understanding that what goes on in here creates what goes on out here. And it led me to NLP. Neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, is like a manual for the mind. It's based off of modeling successful behavior and successful communication with yourself and with others. And it made so much sense to me that I healed and released this childhood trauma, this not good enough, the striving, all of this, and I was able to heal it during these big breakthroughs that I do with other people. And I transformed my life. I redesigned my life. I became a better mom, a better wife, and a better me. And I am so grateful for my path, because now I'm able to hold space for other people going through the same thing, in their way. There's no judgment. I mean, I'm a wreck, there's no judgment. So those powerhouse women who have the capes, who don't have a safe place to be vulnerable and say, this sucks, I'm struggling and I don't know why, I'm able to cut right to it and get to those limiting beliefs so that we can release it, so that they can be free and show up and live the life that we all need you to live.
Yes. Susan, what's so interesting to me is you said you didn't make just 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. And so here you are, you're a big producer, you have this power packed position, and you're making big things happen in this position, but yet you were falling apart inside. And, and some people say, well, how is that possible? Right.
Yeah.
And then all of the doubts that you were talking about, and working through that, who would have thought that you would have had baggage that you were carrying as you were making these multiple 6 figures, right?
Yeah. I was in the engineering department at this big company, doing operations and customer relations and things like that. And I was the smiley, energetic one. And yet I noticed as I started to burn out, I used to get compliments all the time on my smile and my energy and my eyes. And I stopped getting that. And I hadn't noticed it for a while. But yeah, it's when you're looking outside of you to fulfill something that's inside of you, it doesn't work. So I was looking for outside validation to be good enough, to be
Somebody
loved.
needs to type that in, please. Somebody type that in. Looking for outside validation. And that's what was happening, Susan. And then the other thing that's so, I mean, you are a great example of, of what we experience and how it impacts our bodies, right? We go. We don't realize the impact of all of that stuff that we're dealing with and how it can literally shut us down and then show up in different ways and affect our health, right?
Absolutely. The Center for Disease Control gave a statistic, and I can't remember the exact number, but it's over 90% of dis-ease in the body has an emotional root.
Wow.
So the unresolved baggage or things that happened in our life that have not been resolved will come out one way or another. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes it comes out in dis-ease in the body. It also comes out in things like road rage, no patience with your kids, anger, inappropriate sadness, inappropriate guilt. Those are
Mm-hmm.
all symptoms of unresolved things from your past. So
Mm-hmm.
so we are looking outside to fix something that is really inside of us. Even people who trigger us, people
Yes.
like, now is a good time when we're quarantined with people, with family, and then they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I need to get away. But even when people are triggering us, we expect them to change so that we can feel better, when actually the work is inside of us. It's
Isn't that
always
something?
always
Always.
is, which is why I wanted to talk about how to even show up, because this permeates through everything. These two things that I'm going to talk about is just
Mm-hmm.
showing up, whether it's showing up with your family or showing up online here, or showing up for your clients,
Mm-hmm.
showing up in any way. It starts in here.
It starts in here. And you know, the work that you're doing with us tonight, Susan, and thank you, France. I see your name here. She said looking for outside validation. So thank you for listing that. And the others, please put your names in so that we can see who's on tonight. But definitely we want to hear from you. But Susan, I wanted to just before you, I guess you get into the work, just kind of talk about a little bit what's happening today. I read some articles about, some of the domestic violence that's happening as a result of people, being at home, losing jobs, the child abuse, the domestic abuse, all of that happening, right? And this is the best time to sit down and say, I got to work on me. I got to work on me, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's stories like that is my why. So I had a lot of abuse in my past, and
Mhm.
my why makes me cry. My why is to help parents clean up their stuff so that
Mhm.
they can be better parents,
Mhm.
right? Because when we feel good, we do good.
Yeah.
When we feel good, we have more patience. When we feel good, we don't put our expectations on other people. We
Right.
see them for who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's the number one thing that we all have is the power to choose. And we can choose. We can't always choose our situation or our circumstance, but we can
Mhm.
change how we respond, and we can change the meaning that we give it. And so now is exactly the right time to start looking and start assessing. And the thing about the world right now is it's asking us to slow down
Yes.
and reflect. How do we want to come out of this? This is our opportunity to pivot, to
That's it.
shift. Are we
Hmm.
in should? We should stay.
Right.
We should do this. Or it's not that bad.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
F that. Uh,
Hmm.
it, you deserve to feel good. You deserve to thrive. You were put on this earth by God to do what only you can do.
Hmm.
And so who are you doing a disservice to by not showing up as your authentic self with the gifts that God gave you to do?
Hmm.
And please hear me, there is work to do sometimes to get there, to
Right.
clean out the beliefs that we got when we were little before we even realized that we gave meanings to things. It's as simple as if we had a parent that was working and then we came in and wanted to play with them, they're like, not now. It's like, oh, I'm not lovable, or work is more important,
Mhm.
or we make these meanings, and we have tough circumstances. And it's the news that I want to share with everybody is that there is a different way. My identity used to be, hi, I'm Susan. And shortly after, I was abused as a child. And then I blah, 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 or, oh, I'm a single mom,
Right.
or whatever. But you're the author of your story. What is
Mhm.
the story that you want to
Mhm.
tell? And if you are not living, your story is not just your story, it's a legacy
It's a
being written.
legacy. That's right. Hmm.
It's a legacy being written. Is this a legacy? Because you're going to look back on this time What
Right.
is the legacy that you want to create? And there's so many tools and people and support that's available. So choose. We all have the power to choose.
Yes. And so tonight you're going to share with us some tools that we can use to pivot, right?
Yeah.
And talk to us about showing up even when you don't feel like it, right? So you're going to share some things with us tonight. I am excited because I get to sit in the hot seat and yes.
Yeah, I'm not.
So,
Yeah, it's well, I'm not going to put you in the hot seat, but I'm going to ask you to participate in the fun stuff.
okay.
So right now, is a time when I'm just going to speak from experience. Yeah, so I'm a mindset coach. I do energy work. I've got all the tools and all the things, and I still have all the emotions.
Mhm.
Right? And there is a lot of anxiety and fear and uncertainty in the air, and it's
Mhm.
underlying or it's overt. I'm not a person that watches the news. And yet I always find out what's going on. And I figured out that it's a stay in place right now in Seattle, Washington, where, we can't leave. So, but I choose not to watch the news. And yet I get on group calls with my colleagues or, talk to certain people, and I feel the anxiety. I can feel it in the air. And
Mhm.
so I just want to acknowledge that people are feeling this way.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm not just saying, just feel better, because I was like that. Everything's fine. I'm fine. It's great. I'm fine.
Mhm.
So the first thing that we need to do is to feel the feelings. Like, how am I feeling? But not be run by them.
Mhm. So how do you do that though, Susan?
Yeah. So the first thing is to get in touch with your body, scan your body, feel, how am I feeling?
Mhm.
So for me yesterday, I felt this anxiety in my solar plexus. And I was like, ooh, that's weird. What is that? What am I worried about? And then it's the question, like, what are the thoughts behind the feelings? What am I worried about?
Mhm.
Well, maybe if I was worried, I would be worried about the people that don't have jobs right now, because that's real close to home for me,
Mhm.
right? And I'm worried about, the with so many things to be worried about. But I go, but I don't
Right.
think this is mine. I think it's somebody else's. But it's acknowledging it. And if it
Okay.
was mine, then there's a couple of things that I can do. So thoughts lead to feelings.
Okay.
Feelings lead to behaviors. Behaviors lead to outcomes. So if I want to change the way I feel, I need
Okay.
to change the way I think, right?
Mhm.
Because in order to show up as a behavior, show up as an outcome. If I want to show up, then I need to change my feelings and thoughts, right? It starts at thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. So my favorite way to shift, because I want to shift, because I want to show up,
Mhm.
is to change my state. And my state is how I feel, how I think, but it's really
Mhm.
two things. It's what I'm focusing on, and it's
Okay.
how my physiology is. And so those are the two things that I'm going to share that we can do.
Okay.
Right.
So what am I focused on and what's my
Physiology. How
physiology?
Yes. So, and then I just need to decide, right? Because I used to be run by my feelings. Oh, I don't really feel like going to bar today, or I don't really feel, you know what? I'll start my diet tomorrow, or like,
Mhm.
I'll give up coffee tomorrow. I don't feel like it, or oh, you know
Right.
what? I really feel like doing. I was so run by my feelings,
Mhm.
and because in corporate America, I was like, drive, 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 drive. Doesn't matter how I feel. And then I went to the other extreme, and I'm like, I feel like doing this. Well, it's not great for business, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Showing up
Right.
for people, and I
Not
don't feel
good.
like so there's got to be a balance. So
Right.
it's choosing. Okay, so let's talk about showing up even when you don't feel like it. So number one is awareness. How am I feeling? But even how am I feeling? Number two, decide I want to show up. Why do I want to show up? So number two is get in touch with my why. Right. So when you're aware of that feeling in your body, it's just to have awareness and name it. Just to back up for a second, name it. I'm feeling this. What?
Okay. So if I'm angry, then don't try to process, because when I'm angry, I typically try to do a self-reflection, a quick self-reflection. Okay, am I supposed to own this anger? Do I have a right to be angry, or is it stemming from something else? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
instead of doing that, it's just own the fact that I'm just angry
yeah. I'm
and not
mad.
process.
Yeah. Well, so yes, process it, express it,
Okay.
like I'm angry. I'm really angry. Is this my anger or is this someone else's anger? Like what? Like is someone else mad, so I'm mad, or am I mad because of this, and am I bad because of this? Plus, it reminds me of this and this and this. So see
Mm,
it as it is and not worse than it is. What are you mad about? Are you mad about because so and so did this or did this again?
mm-hmm,
Right?
mm-hmm.
So process it, own it. I'm mad and I love that. Like
Okay.
just own it. Own it. Don't try and shove it down.
Okay.
Don't try and like sunshine and sparkles it away. Like, okay, I'm mad. Now I have to show up for a client. So this is real talk from me. Sometimes I'm mad. Sometimes I'm sad. I'm a new grandma. And I
Yes.
was spending round the clock time. My kids and my granddaughter are quarantined with me, and I was tired, and I have to show up for my clients, right? So I'm like, oh, part of me is like, oh, I can reschedule. But then I'm like, no, actually, I love coaching. So I'm going to show up, right?
Right.
But name it. I'm tired and I love that.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about if I'm going to be tired tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
That's
I,
it.
I'm tired right now. Okay. I'm tired and I love that. Right.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
then I'm like, okay, I decide I'm going to show up. Why? I am going to show up because I'm here to help people feel good so that they could do good in their lives and be free and be successful
That's your why.
and feel that's my why, because
Mm-hmm,
I am doing a disservice when I don't show up to support those people, right?
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to hear, about one more suicide, about one more abuse, about one more any of that. I'm showing up to do my work, right? And then it is understanding, what are those thoughts? Are
Mm-hmm.
they true? And then there's two things. We have the power to choose what we focus on. So number one is upset or sad, and then I show up for I do what I'm going to share with you. I
Mm-hmm.
show up for my clients. I feel amazing, like better than I did before.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go back to being mad if I want, but I got to show up because that's what I'm here to do.
Right, right,
And that's
right.
what I know these powerhouse women are here to do too, right? Like life
Yeah.
happens, like stuff is happening right now. There's a lot of anxiety in the air and we need to show up. So we got
Yes.
to decide, why do we want to show up? Yep, there's a lot of stuff going on and I'm deciding to show up. So the first thing, the easiest thing for me is to
Mhm.
change my physiology, because
Okay.
sometimes it can be really hard, Pam, right? To be like, I'm mad, to hi, how can I serve you? Like, that's a big ass jump.
It's a jump. It's a jump.
That's a vibration jump.
But wait, so unless you talk to my kid, my daughter, she's like, "Mommy, why is it that you can be yelling at me, but then you start talking to your client? Okay, how are you today?" But
Absolutely.
it is a big jump, though.
How many times though? Such a great example, because it's what we focus on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's it.
how many people have been like in a fight with someone, then the phone rings, they're like, hello. Oh,
Right.
we need
How
to
did you
change our
shift?
state. That when I was at the top of Angel's Landing, from being broken and
Mm-hmm.
suicidal to, oh my God, I am not broken. It's that fast. We have
Mm.
that power. We
Wow.
do not have to be stuck where we're at. A
Mm-hmm.
mind shift is like it can happen that fast, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
know that. And sometimes even then it can be a little tricky to
Mm-hmm.
shift it when we're really in our stuff,
Okay.
at least for me. So
Somebody said, Susan, real quick, let me put this up. Somebody said, I'm a pro. I can't see it. It just says Facebook user. I'm a pro. Laugh out loud. Somebody's a pro at that, right? Shifting, immediate shifts. And please do comment. If Susan is saying something that's resonating with you, go ahead and type that in. Put your name in. Let us know who's here and share with us what is resonating with you as Susan is teaching us and giving us tools tonight.
yeah, and you're not, like, my mission with this is to let people know that they're not alone. They're
Mm-hmm.
not alone. Because
Mm-hmm.
as super Wonder Women, powerhouse women, we often feel isolated and alone because we have to have it all together for everybody
Yeah.
else, right?
Yes.
And so this is how to act, to show up even when you don't feel like it, which we do a lot. But
Yes.
and there's a whole lot more I can talk about that. But right now we're just talking about how to show up. So our physiology, again, our mind and our body are connected. So when we change our physiology, we change our state, we change our emotions, right?
Mhm.
So Pam, how would how would your body be if you were depressed?
I got it right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got
Mm-hmm.
nothing else for you. I'm done.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
you got the head
Nothing.
going, you got the
Nothing.
shoulders, your back,
Shoulders. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
It's back.
overwhelmed, depressed, uncertain, right? Now,
Hey, this is my the
oh
one right
yeah,
here.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So now, how would your body be if you were certain, if you were confident? Oh, look at that. Yeah, you're smiling, which changes the chemistry in the brain. Your
Mm-hmm.
shoulders are back. You're
Mm-hmm.
sitting up. You're giving air, oxygen, probably into your belly instead of your chest. So
Mm-hmm.
just that will start to
Wow.
change your state just by changing physiology. And here's something interesting. So many of us are like this
Right.
on our phones, right?
Ah.
And this is a depressed state. Our shoulders are down, our head is down, our eyes are down. So like we are in this a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So shoulders back, head
Mm-hmm.
up, that can easily change your state. Um, the other thing is when you can change your physiology by shaking. So if you want to change your state, so before, if I'm feeling tired,
Mm-hmm.
or if I'm mad, as I had this experience too, I was really mad about something and I had to go and spend time with someone else. And I was like, I got to shake it out. I got to shake it out of my body. I'll deal with it later, but I got to shake it out. And I was in the elevator jumping up and down like this.
I know the cameraman was like, "What is she
I
doing?"
know that. What? Well, my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just shaking it out because um, emotion is energy in motion. So just
Mm.
move it. Emotion is energy in motion. In
Somebody
fact,
type that in. Emotion is energy in motion.
when you have energy like anxiety or anger in your body, notice the direction it's moving. This is also changing your physiology, but with your mind.
Mm.
Notice the direction it's moving because
Mm-hmm.
it's always moving because emotion is energy in motion.
Right.
So is it moving clockwise? Is it moving counterclockwise? Is it moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
Moving backwards? And then move it in the opposite direction. And you will watch that emotion dissipate.
Mm.
So it's changing. It's changing your physiology. There's also grounding. There's taking a walk. It's just move your body. That helps change your state. So
Just
your
move the body.
physiology is really important. Another thing that I love music. And so
Mm-hmm.
if I want to change my state, I am playing music that
Yeah.
I know is my anchor that
Yeah.
will get me going in the mood that I want because music is a mood inducer for me. So
Mm-hmm.
if I want to be fired up, I'm playing my fired up music and I'm moving my body as I do it. I'm doing Zumba, I'm jumping up and down and I'm shaking my body to the music. I'm using my voice, I'm singing, I'm getting it, I'm moving the energy out. So
Mm-hmm.
decide how to, how do you need to feel in order to show up? Like, how do you want to show up? Do you need to show up calm? Do you
Mm-hmm.
need to show up confident? Do you need to show up on, like, what is that? But move this first. And then we're going to talk about the second thing. And the second thing is your focus. So as I mentioned, your thoughts lead to feelings and then
Feelings.
feelings lead to your behaviors and your behaviors lead to your outcome.
Outcomes. Right.
So when you change your thoughts, you're actually changing the pictures in your mind, right? So if I said, Pamela, I had a great time at the beach,
Mm-hmm.
you automatically had a picture in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a picture in my mind without thinking about it. Like I just said beach, so I'm going to create a picture. But we all have pictures that represent the words that we're assigning to this picture.
Okay.
Our pictures are probably different. And yet we communicate and we think we're saying the same thing, right? So if I want to change my thoughts, I can, and how I feel or my state, then I can change the picture in my mind. So would you do a little exercise with me?
I sure will. Thank
Okay.
you for asking.
So I just want to give, and everyone who's watching, please do this too, and just trust and just close your eyes if you can.
Hmm.
Now, close your eyes
Hmm.
and hold out your hand with your palm facing up.
Hmm.
And as you, I'm closing my eyes too, as you have your palm facing up with your hand outstretched,
Hmm.
imagine that I'm putting in your hand half of a fresh, juicy, cut in half lemon.
Mm.
Now, squeeze it a little bit in your hand so you can tell how juicy this lemon is.
Hmm.
Now, bring your hand with that lemon up to your mouth and smell it. Just smell the citrusy scent of this lemon. And then I want you to open up your mouth and take a big bite out of this juicy lemon and feel the juices running down your chin and down your throat and in your mouth. And then open your eyes and take a look at your hand. Now, how many of you, I'm curious, actually had activated your saliva glands went in overdrive? Now, is there a lemon in your hand?
No.
No. But your body reacted to the pictures in your mind. So if you want to change your state, you can
Ah,
focus and change the pictures in your mind. Okay?
wow. That was good. That was good. Because I was feeling, I was like,
Me
that's
too.
bitter. And I love lemon, but I'm like, but it
Yeah.
has a, and your body reacts to it, right?
Yeah. And mine does too. And I do this all the time with people. And I'm still like, ugh.
Uh,
So I wanted to share that as a real life example of how our thoughts create our reactions, how the pictures in our mind create how we feel. So we want
Yeah.
to change how we feel, we change our thoughts, we change the picture in our mind. Now, just a quick example where I do another exercise is there was a time when my daughter gave my husband and I Macklemore and Seattle Symphony concert tickets. It's a fundraiser with Russell Wilson of the
Hmm.
Seattle Seahawks, and
Yes,
it was
I love
great.
him.
Oh, me too. and in Seattle, we love Russell, and it's a great opportunity. It was such a nice gift, and it was a thank you, a wedding gift, thank you, and it was so sweet. Well, 3 or 4 days prior to that, I had been working really hard, and I was exhausted.
Hmm.
And you ever feel like you're kind of bloated and you're not feeling attractive
Hmm.
and like you just really don't want to go out of the house? Have you ever felt that way? Yeah.
Well, Susan, well, let me see.
Anyone? Anyone ever feel that? Any woman ever feel that way? Like, well, maybe the dryer shrunk my clothes, maybe that's it. And so on this day in particular, I was tired.
Hmm.
I was not feeling sexy and I did not want to go out any other day, just not this
Hmm.
day.
Right,
But
right.
this was the day of the symphony. And I decided to go. My husband was really excited to go.
Hmm.
So I'm like, all right. So I took a shower. I squeezed into my Spanx. I squeezed into a dress. I did my best and then I
Right,
put a big jacket over it. Right. We get
right.
to the symphony. And I'm like, my shoulders are down. I'm totally not managing my state. My
Right.
shoulders are down. And I'm like noticing all the beautiful people around me. I feel awkward. I'm beating myself up a little bit. I'm kind of hiding
Hmm.
behind my husband a little bit, and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm just tired. And he's like, okay. So then I did the thing that I do sometimes. I don't know if anyone relates to this, but I went to hide out in the ladies' room. I found safety in the ladies' room, right? So, so I went into the ladies' room and I went into the stall and I hung out and I'm like, oh, this is awful. I'm so embarrassed and
Hmm.
I just feel terrible. And then I washed my hands and I looked in the mirror and I went, oh, I'm a mindset coach. I can actually choose differently. Okay. All right. I went back into the stall and I changed the pictures in my mind. And what I did was I chose to remember a time when I felt incredibly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered my wedding day in Maui. And I remembered the beautiful white flowing dress. I remember having my kids there. I remember that there were supposed to be 3 hurricanes that hit Maui, and the sun came out on our wedding day. I had so much fun, and I felt gorgeous. And I started to feel better. Then I thought of a time when I felt really confident. And I remember going to China and training some people in my business, and how much fun we had, and just how it was on the fly, and it was so great. And then I thought of another time where I just felt so much love and gratitude. And I got into that state, and I just kept going. And then before I knew it, I was like, this is a great day. And I took my jacket off. I took my Spanx off. I shoved them in my purse. And I walked out of that bathroom, went to my husband. He's like,
here.
What happened to you? And I put my arm around his, and we walked in, and we had the best time. And we were dancing and, and just having a great time.
Yeah.
And it changed because I chose to change.
Wow.
So this is what you can do, is decide when you need to show up. You can be run by your feelings, or you can realize that you are in control.
Yes.
You can decide, change your physiology and change your focus. So when you want to show up, think of a time, so you can do it right now. Think of a time, Pam, when, and everybody on the line. So I know they're all powerhouse women, and they all have to show up, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So how do you want to show up? So can you give me like, what is a way that you want to feel or be when you want to show up? Can you give me an example of how you'd like to? Or anyone comment? Yeah.
Anyone want to comment, or you want me to do it?
No, you, but I'm just curious. So tell me.
How do I want to show up?
Yeah. In a certain, if you could think of a specific circumstance or instance in your life and how you want to show up.
Oh boy, Susan, that's a good one. How do I want to show up? How do I want to show up? I think during this time right now, with all the uncertainty going on, yes, I'm nervous, but I do know God, and I trust that He's got all power in His hands, right? But the human part of me is like, my family is on my shoulders. I have to maintain cool. I've got to maintain focus, and I've got to show up for my clients, and I've got to show up for my family. So during this time, that I want to show up as, first of all, confident in God and my faith in Him, right? And the confidence that He's got us, and He's protecting us, and He's keeping us, right? And then I'm doing my part, right? So I've got to be able to focus in to do my part, which is continue to focus on my work and what I've got to do for my family. So am I getting there? Are you?
So confidence, trust in God, confidence, and what other feeling would you like to have?
Just, if I can just be totally transparent. My clients say, Pamela, you're really great at what you do. But I know I'm throwing myself way out there, but it's the belief sometimes in myself, right? And even though my clients tell me, wow, that was really great, or they accomplished things, and it's like, Pam, you know your stuff, but right?
Yeah.
That stuff. If I could just be real transparent.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody else is feeling that, but that's me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. And so what would that do for you to have that trust and that confidence and that belief in yourself? What would that do for you?
I wouldn't second guess myself so much, right? Because I am a very methodical person, and I can get stuck in the thinking and be stagnated, right, in that thinking, versus just start doing it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I have to talk to myself. You've thought about this long enough. It's now time to go ahead and start making things happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, what I wanted to offer also is if these don't help and there's some procrastination that's still going on, there could be some underlying beliefs in there, right? Because procrastination means that we're avoiding something that we think is going to be painful, right? And do something that's more pleasurable, because we're either moving away from pain or moving towards pleasure. So if there's procrastination, it means there's some pain in there or some not pleasure. So knowing that, and so there could be some beliefs in there, right?
Yeah.
And so reaching out to me, what I just wanted to share is that there's some questions like, is this belief true? How do I know it's true? How do I feel when I believe this thought? What if the opposite were true? Well, are there 3 examples of how the opposite is true? And just kind of loosen the boundaries of those beliefs. But if they reach out to me through my website, we can do a clarity call and we can get right to the root of what's going on with the procrastination or these beliefs.
For me, it's really perfection, because I have this perfectionism going on and don't want to fail, totally competitive, always. And I may not compete against someone else, but I'm always competing against myself, right?
Yeah.
So I know that's some of it, but I'm sure there's more in my luggage.
Yeah. And I would love to come back if you all would have me, and we could do a session on beliefs and pushing out those beliefs.
Yes.
So because you're not alone. I definitely, as my peer friend and colleague, that I've gotten stuck in perfectionism. And how do I describe the magical work that I do with people? Like, what are the words? I can't use word because I don't have the right words. So you are not alone.
Well,
sure.
What I really appreciate, Susan, is when we talked about your clients, you said, a couple, clients you had a couple years ago, you've talked to them, just following up with them. How are you doing now? And even, just temperature check during this. I call this a moment in time. To me, it's just a moment in time. It's going to pass, right?
Yeah.
And they're still doing well because of the work that you did with them, right? And that's huge. That's huge.
I almost cry when I reach out to my clients recently, as I'm checking in on them, both past and current clients. I'm like, how are you doing? Because we do this breakthrough work and then the coaching on top of it, they're fine. They are calm. They understand what's going on, but they know they can trust themselves to handle whatever happens. And it's, and even people that I worked with 2 years ago, they're saying, thank you for the spiritual tools. Thank you for the mindset tools, because that is helping me be resilient right now. So thank you for saying that. It's powerful. So Pamela, if you wanted to show up and feel that trust in God, that confidence and that belief in yourself, there's 2 ways that you can really do it. And one is to go back in time and remember a time clearly. So if you would do that now and just imagine a specific time when you felt that unshakable trust in God. God's got you. Can you think of a specific time? Yeah. As you go back to that specific time, I want you to look through your own eyes and see what you see when you have this total trust and knowing in God. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel the feelings of this absolute trust. And then turn up those feelings. Turn up the sounds. Make this picture bigger, make it panoramic, make it bright. As if it's happening right now. Now, Pamela, can you remember a time when you felt totally confident? Yeah. Go back to that specific time right now when you felt totally confident. And as you're looking through your own eyes, see what you see. Look around this specific time. What do you see? What do you hear, both in your head and outside? And what do you feel when you are totally confident? Go back to that time as it's happening right now and turn up the feelings of being totally confident. That's right. This is in you. This is you. Now, can you think of a time when you just really believed in yourself and what you have to offer, knowing your why, knowing that you help people? Can you remember a time, a specific time when you had that kind of belief in yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just go back to that specific time. See what you see, hear what you hear, and feel the feelings of totally believing in yourself and what you have to offer. Turn up those feelings. Turn up the brightness of this picture. Make it panoramic. Bring this picture in closer, really close, right to the end of your nose. Make it bright. Hear what you hear. What are the sounds? What are people saying? What are you saying to yourself when you have this total belief in what you're doing and why you're doing it? That's right. Good. Now, Pam, go ahead and come back into your body. Open your eyes and let me know how you feel.
That's amazing.
Right. So
Right?
what we do is
Wow.
what it's called anchoring. So an anchor is when you tie an emotion to a certain thing like a music or a smell. Another thing that I do to anchor is use essential
Wow.
oils to change my state. But if you need to in a pinch, just like I did in the bathroom, just like if you need to be on for something like this or for a client or to show up and do whatever it is you need to do, decide how it is you need to feel. Change your physiology, move it, shake it, go outside, give yourself that opportunity to change your physiology because it makes a difference because it's linked to how you feel. And then change your state by changing your focus, right?
Amazing.
So next
Amazing.
time I come on, I'll share another way of switching out how your identity and how you want your identity to be and how to switch that out in an instant. But I think this was a lot, and I thank you for all of your time.
Nice. Nice.
This is
Thank you.
how.
Thank you. Thank you. And would you say, Susan, that it takes practice, right? It takes
Yeah,
practice, right?
it does. And the first thing is to decide,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because again, we can get caught up in our feelings and we can be run by our feelings, or we can remember that we're in charge. And,
Yes.
you and be run by your identity, right? Because you are creating a legacy and decide to show up.
And
And
decide
then
to show up.
decide to show up and then use these tools, but it does take practice. Just
Mm-hmm.
remembering. So whatever that is, write a note on your bathroom. Yes, remember we are in charge. You are
Yes,
not run by your emotions unless you decide to be. You
that's
are
it.
in charge
We
because
are in
just like a
charge.
lemon, you change that fast. Yeah. So
That's it.
if
I
anyone
love
is
this.
curious and wants to learn more, please reach out to me. It's so fun.
Please do. And you can reach Susan at www.susanpalmerwood.com. That's Susan Palmerwood. That's SUSAN Palmerwood.com. You are just incredible, Susan. I appreciate you as a colleague, as my sister. We are, for everyone out there, we are accountability partners, and we have an accountability group through our Lisa Nichols, who's our mentor. And she is just, I've had an opportunity to spend time in Susan's space, and she spent time in mine, and just to get to know you. And God has just deposited so much inside of you. And I thank you for sharing with me tonight, as I don't know about anybody else out there, but you helped me tonight. and also, oh, thank you so much. Congrats, Susan Palmerwood. Congrats, Pamela. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I thank you. And the work that you're doing fits so well into what I train and what I share on the Powerhouse in Motion campus, which is, of course, the 7 essentials of well-being, right? So the mind, the body, the soul, and so we talk about the emotional intelligence. And this is a lot of that, right? And really understanding your emotions and that we can decide, right? We can decide Yes, yes, yes. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We got to have you back. We got to
I
have
love
you
you.
back. So God bless you, your new grandbaby, and being there. I pray God's protection upon you, your family there in Seattle, Washington. We just appreciate you. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone joining us tonight. We pray that you got some great nuggets to practice on yourselves, practice on your families, and this is something, of course, that you can use in every facet of your life and your business. Miss France, thank you, France. She says, thank you. This was great.
Awesome.
This is great.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Fran.
Yes. And so then as we practice it ourselves, then we can also then share this with our family, right? And our friends and others, right? But again, if you're interested in learning more, please go to www.susanpalmerwood.com. And please, I've got a special treat for you on Saturday. We have a Saturday night special coming up.
Mm.
Saturday night special. Tune in at 10 o'clock tonight. We're going to post who's coming up on Saturday.
Ooh.
So you mentioned just a little something, a tool that you can use in the area of music, right? You can use music because music moves the
Yeah,
soul, right?
absolutely.
Well, Susan, we've got a great treat on Saturday night. So, especially ladies are going to love it. Ladies are going to love it. I tell you. So, please chime in tonight at 10 o'clock and just look on my page. You're going to see, and look in the campus, you're going to see who's coming up on Saturday, and you do not want to miss it. So, again, thank you so much. I have a gentleman here. I love it. Rodney. Thank you. We got a man in the house. Yes, that's my
Woo!
brother Rodney. Energy. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. I tell you, Susan is full of energy and she gives such great energy. And I just love her. I really, really do. So thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. And until next time, have a great one. All
Love you
right.
too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.